After a Christmas of chaos, we're starting the new year with another week of rail strikes, people wondering if they're ever going to end. Well, the Daily Express has shared hopes this morning, that's their front page, that we could be close to a deal. The man behind the strikes, Mick Lynch, joins me now. Really good to see you, Mick. I think we're all weary. We just want this fixed. I'm sure you do. I'm sure your members do. People are saying we're in touching distance of some kind of settlement. How optimistic are you?
Well, I always approach these things with an optimistic outlook because I need to make an agreement with the other parties, the employers and the government, and it's a three-way conversation, this. So we're meeting with the government on Monday in the presence of the companies, and I'm hoping that the government will facilitate this deal. I haven't heard what it is that Network Rail have got to offer that's new.
Right.
We've rejected their previous offer. Our members voted on that in a referendum, a very high turnout. So if they've got something new to offer, they'll find us a good counterpart. We will come to the table in a spirit of compromise, in a spirit of goodwill, and I'm hoping that we can get a deal for our members and for the public and for the industry and for the economy and all the users who want to see this thing settled. But the government really needs to move on from an ideological position, I think, to a practical position of trying to resolve the dispute. Everybody
just wants this to stop because, you know, we've had loads of people, you can imagine, we've had such a huge reaction knowing that you were in. Lots of our viewers are saying, look, there's a cost of living crisis, they can't afford to pay more for trains, they're going to be stuck at home, life is grim, and it's difficult. Are you worried that the public support will just start to drain away the longer this goes on?
Well, we don't want to alienate the public. We are the public. Our members are ordinary men and women like everybody else in the country who want to get a square deal for their work. There isn't any need for higher fares. The government has racked up the fares over the last 20 years or so to support profit for the train operating companies. Those companies are continuing to make profit and are subsidised during this dispute. So we need to help railway workers, railway users, all those businesses, we've heard about the entertainment sector, the hospitality sector, that are struggling when our cities are empty. We've got a railway network that's a bit defective. It doesn't work on non-strike days or strike days. So we want to see a period where we get a settlement for our members, a settlement for the passengers, and we can get our economy moving again and our cities and towns vibrant, full of people enjoying themselves and going about their business in the way they want to.
Of course.
But our members need a square deal as well as the nurses, the teachers, the doctors, everyone else in this country that's struggling. We need a bit of give from the government who needs to empathise with ordinary people.
What they're saying here, which we've got a statement from them this morning, they're saying they are being reasonable. They're saying inflation matching pay increases for all public sector workers, which you've just mentioned, would cost everyone more in the long term, worsening debt, fueling inflation and costing every household, they're saying, an extra grand, an extra £1,000. So they're saying that is just not going to happen.
Well, the train operating companies are making profit. So in theory, these are companies that are standalone, but the government has the right to veto whatever they do. And they've all made profit over the last 3 or 4 years during the pandemic. So they need to give some of that up, frankly, the train operating companies, to help the passengers and help the staff. We will try to get that settlement if we can. The government needs to think about where ordinary people are, though. Some people are suffering, in the last 2 years, 20% inflation without any pay increases. Our members in the railway haven't had a pay rise for 4 years. Now, we need a settlement that's not going to bust inflation. It's not going to cause a massive price spiral, but we need a square deal in terms of their job security, their conditions, and a bit of give on their pay so that we can get back to normal.
But you said that the deal, the 9% pay deal, which included job security for a certain amount of time, was rejected. We keep getting told that train drivers are earning over £50,000 a year, and this alienates people. I mean, Noor has said, think about the people these strikes affect. You already get paid more than people who work in retail, I'm sure Noor does, who are dealing with demanding, difficult people. That's the thing, it is affecting the public, and they're thinking to themselves, hang on a minute, you know, your members are getting paid enough anyway, because we keep getting told it's £50,000 a year.
Well, that's not true. Pay in retail is far too low. These big supermarkets make vast profits and keep their members' conditions and wages screwed down. So they need a better deal as well. The vast majority of our people that we're negotiating for in Network Rail and the TOCs, as they're called, are on below 32,000. 75% of our members in the train operators are below 32,000. That's for 24/7 working in all weathers across the calendar year. So we're looking for a square deal for them. for ordinary people that are trying to feed their families, trying to keep their heads above the inflationary waters that we're in. We think we can get there with a bit of goodwill from the government and a bit of flexibility from the companies. They're looking for flexibility from us in terms of working practices and modernisation. We can get there with them on that. They've got to come to us on pay and job security, and I'm sure we can create a bit of goodwill next week and get these negotiations moving forward.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. We want to say to the public, we're not hostile to you. We don't want to hold you to ransom, as the caricature is. We just want a square deal so that we can get back to work and we can get the country moving again as well.
What about you personally? Because this has been a strange time for you. And in a way, you know, you've become almost like a celebrity. We've seen you in Have I Got News for You? We've seen you on just about every news show. Are you comfortable with that? Is there a little part of you that almost enjoys that?
No, I don't want to be a celebrity. I was a railway worker, a shift worker for nearly 35 years before I got elected to this job. I'd much rather go back to my job of running the union, providing services for our members and negotiating deals. And if I didn't have to do any of this profile stuff, I'd much rather be in that position. But my job is to articulate and represent our members' cases and their claims. And that's what I'm here to do. It's what I try to do to the best of my ability. But I've no desire to be famous. Look at the state of me, Lorraine. I'm not a face for telly, maybe a voice for radio. So if I can get back to doing my day job in a quiet way, in a low-profile way, I'd be very happy to do that and get the railways back on track as well.
That's what we all want, and I hope that somehow you can all, you know, at least you're all going to be in the same room on Monday and something,
week, yeah.
hopefully, something will happen. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.